The first and last names of God. God Almighty said, He is the first and the last, the manifest and the hidden, and He is all-knowing of all things. The prophet, may God bless him and grant him peace, said, O God, you are the first, so there is nothing before you, and you are the last, so there is nothing after you, you are the manifest, so there is nothing above you, and you are inward. For there is nothing besides you. Pay off our debt and enrich us from poverty. Narrated by Muslim. The meaning of the first and the last came explicitly in the hadith of the Prophet. May God bless him and grant him peace. God is the first, meaning, the one before whom there is nothing, and God is the last, meaning, the one after whom there is nothing. God Almighty existed and there was no one before him or with him. Everything other than God occurred after him, and everything other than him exists after it did not exist. And he is the last remaining after the annihilation of creation. For God Almighty has no beginning to his existence, and no end to his existence. As for the conflict that may appear between the meaning of the other name of God and the eternity of the people of paradise in the afterlife, the conflict can be removed from two aspects. The first, the survival of God Almighty is an attribute necessary for himself, unlike the immortality of the people of paradise, which is derived from God Almighty. They remain because of God's preservation of them and not by themselves. If God had not willed to keep them, this immortality would not have occurred to them. Their immortality is a grace, a gift, and a gift from God. Just as the existence of a creature is due to God's creation of it, and is not an existence from him, so is his survival in the afterlife if he enters paradise. But it is a gift from God to him, and it is pure grace from him, may he be glorified and exalted. Second, the survival of the people of paradise in their eternity is a fulfillment of God Almighty's promise to them, because God Almighty promised them eternity, and his promise is true and truthful. God Almighty said, God has promised the believing men and believing women gardens under which rivers flow. They will abide therein forever, and good dwellings in the gardens of Eden. And satisfaction from God. This is the greatest victory. The requirement of the first and last two names of God and their effect. The first name of God indicates the precedence of God Almighty in grace, creation, and supply. He, glory be to him, is the one who created, brought into existence, gave, and provided for. And he is the one who created the reasons and harnessed the means for the livelihood of creation. All grace is his, first and last. So whoever knows God's precedence and grace resorts to him in all his affairs, and acknowledges his poverty and his need for his Lord. The other name of God requires that the servant not be dependent on people or causes, because everything is destined to perish and disappear. Attachment to anything other than God is attachment to what is fleeting and does not remain. As for attachment to God Almighty, it is attachment to what is permanent and everlasting. Who does not die or go away?